Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Nath Biogenes Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by Go India Advisors. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Niharika from Go India Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ali. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Nath Biogenes earnings call to discuss the Q1 FY22 results. We have on the call with us today Mr. Devinder Khurana, CFO, and Mr. VN Kulkarni from Research. We must remind you that the discussion on today's call may include certain forward-looking statements and must be therefore viewed in conjunction with the risks that the company faces. I will now hand over to Mr. Khurana for his opening remarks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today. I hope you would have seen our earnings presentation, which was released yesterday. You would remember our strategic shift towards de-risking our business model and diversifying our business model, which is now currently working. In the first quarter, Q1 FY22, the non-cotton and non-paddy portfolio has contributed to around 22% of our revenue. Cotton and paddy volumes have grown at 8.5% and 8% respectively. Other crops have grown by a much higher 27.5%. I'm pleased to say that we have surpassed FY21 cotton sales in the first quarter only. Cotton sales provision has appropriately been made, which is likely to be reduced in this quarter. As you heard from our Managing Director in the Q4 FY21 call, we are augmenting our product line constantly, and new products have also been launched in our PNS segment, that is Plant Nutrient Supplement. We are gearing up for the upcoming Rabi season. Vegetable sales have lined up. Mustard and wheat have been stocked. Vinchivin, as always, is a lovely product, and we have added 2 more products in the same segment. While the second wave did not impact much at a company level, the Kharif sowing was certainly hampered due to the second wave of COVID-19. Company took extra efforts to normalize processing and logistics. The cotton seed industry continues to face a major headwind. A record high of 60 to 70 lakh of illegal cotton seeds have been sold in this season. Industry lobbies are demanding strict action from government in this area, as illegal cotton seeds have negative environmental consequences. We are also working with various government bodies and regulators to overcome this menace. I will now briefly talk about the financial performance. Our top line has grown by about 11% and EBITDA by 10% on YOY basis. PAT has also increased by about 9%. In terms of working capital, the inventory levels have reduced pursuant to the sales. Debtors have increased pursuant to the sales and are being realized. This is regular for the first quarter year after year. Before I open the floor for questions, I would like to discuss the FY22 outlook. We expect to deliver a top line growth of around 18 to 20% in FY22. We will maintain our EBITDA, PAT, and contribution margins in the same range. With this, I will now open the floor for questions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Preeti Singh from Value Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. So I have a couple of questions from my end. So could you shed some light on the working capital situation? Like the inventory has improved, but when do you foresee a positive cash flow?
Ma'am, I'm Khurana, of course. Let me handle this. Our working capital, like it was also clarified in the last 2 or 3 meetings or con calls, the working capital inventory always goes down in the first quarter because of sales, and the debtors go up because of the sales, which they get realized before H1. So as a result, we have been giving positive cash flow last year, year before that also, and this year also we are very sure of positive cash flows. The fund situation, like I clarified last time also, becomes definitely more liquid once the H1 closes.
Okay, thank you. And another question is, what is your opinion on the upcoming Rabi season?
What happens is in Rabi season, we go for field crops like mustard, wheat, some part of cotton, some part of paddy. Then mostly the sales come from vegetable and our nutrient supplement segment. Vegetable vertical is performing reasonably well. We expect around 30% growth in these both segments this year as compared to last year. So we are geared up for Rabi, although that will start after about 3 months. We are still closing the H1, that is the Kharif season, returns and realizations. But we are confident about Rabi also. No problems in that.
Okay, thank you, sir. That's all from my side for now. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Awasthi from InCred Research. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Couple of questions from my side. Firstly, would just like to understand what has been the growth in the cotton segment for the industry. If you could give a rough percentage, because you have grown by 8.5%, which seems to be a very good number given that the infiltration by illegal seeds is very high this time around.
As far as cotton growth in industry is concerned, I would request Dr. Kulkarni to enlighten you on that. He is the chief.
In fact, the cotton growth of Nath Biogen is in line with industry because at some places the cotton planting has been reduced and the illegal cotton has been encroached into legal sector. Some of the major companies which have got into it because of this illegal cotton, but we were not into it because our area of operation and our product segments were at a different place. So the major companies have got really big hit, but we are not into that because we are not into that place where the illegal has encroached. So our growth is in line with industry, but when compared to some major companies which are not grown up, we are grown.
Okay, sir. So the second question will be on the accounting front. Although there has been a revenue growth of 11%, there has been a decline, or not decline, whereas the gross profit could not keep up to that rate because of the gross profit margin reduction. If you could just comment on why is that happening in spite of the mix changing towards non-cotton, which should be more margin accretive?
You see, when I said non-cotton, we always meant like this. I will have to continue to reiterate at least for 3-4 more con calls that we are stabilizing in cotton. We are not expecting exponential growth in cotton. Now, when we are talking of non-cotton and non-paddy products, the field crops are growing. They come with a reasonable margin. The major margins come from vegetable and from PNS, which comes in H2. So when you compare an overall GP margin of the whole year, that will be better than last year. But if you compare in this quarter, definitely because we are talking of a reasonable margin products and not high margin products, that is why there is a slight fall in the GP margin. But it's not, it's natural and it's regular.
I'm comparing with the Q1 of last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. See, what happens is that certain costs have gone up, certain production areas have been enhanced, so that takes away a little more then certain old inventory has been used, which might have come at a higher cost. But overall, we are always confident, and I keep maintaining that the GP margin at the year end will always be around 52% plus.
Okay, so noted, because this seems to be a big hit, because if that was not the case, your PAT would have been substantially higher.
Yes and no, but then it is what it is.
Okay, noted, sir. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Yep.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we would like to remind participants that you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of P.H. Chheda from an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Hi, I'd just like to get your comments on the fact that you have loans and advances of around about 150 crores on the balance sheet. Could you just let us know that what are these loans and advances?
See, what happens is, there was a time when seed industry used to purchase on delayed credit and sell with advances. The trend got reversed few years back. Today, the seed industry has to give advances to ensure that the production takes place on time every time. Now, these advances are given to a string of growers and farmers who are taking up production on behalf of the company. Today, no company can ensure the production and quality production to that matter without giving advances to people who grow cotton, paddy, and all the crops for that matter. So these advances will grow if we want to grow the top line in the coming years. We need to take production this year for next year's sales. So advances go to ensure that the production takes place for the company. These advances will be realized against goods taken back as production taken back from the growers and the farmers, and they will be adjusted against that. So giving advances is normal. That protects my business for the future.
So in some senses, we should look upon these as a core component of working capital.
It is definitely a part of working capital.
Okay, that helps a lot. Thank you. Second question, most of your end markets, the crop markets are not really growing that fast. If I look at, rice or cotton, annual growth rates of 3-4% are around about as good as it gets. In a market like this, how is it that you grow? I mean, what is it that you have to do in order to gain market share? Because the market itself has limited growth.
Let me partially answer this, and I will request Dr. Kulkarni to let you know more on that. You see, basically what happens in seed market is that only the product calls. If you have a good product which gives a good realization or a good yield to the farmer, catering or countering the disease effects, then invariably you can continue to, it's like iPhone still going in a declining mobile market, But anyway, more to that from Dr. Kulkarni, please.
In Nath Biogene, we have, the last 2 years, we have separated product development department, earlier which was associated with R&D only. With that, what has happened, our introduction of product after right evaluation at 8 stages of crop evaluation, we are releasing now. Meaning that the kind of products we are releasing going to realize more value and volume in the coming days. So as Khurana ji said, it is product which makes it. So whatever products we are having, we are now putting in the market. In fact, there are some traditional products which are not even going to decline because of their high added value in the farming community and the society, especially in the rice and even few cotton hybrids are there. So this is a function of that, and it is going to improve with a period of time.
So basically, new product introduction is key to keeping sales growth going.
Yes. It is always the same, bro.
So do we have a framework where, we say that this is a cotton seed, these are its 5 closest competitors, these are the 4 or 5 parameters on which we benchmark to our competition, and, then you know where you stand with regards to people who are competing for that market? Is that kind of framework used?
Yes, sir. There is All India Coordinated Cotton Improvement Project conducts the trial of all BT cotton hybrids, and they will rank upon based on the yield levels observed across the locations. These Indian Council of Agriculture Research trials are conducted by the government people, and I'm very happy to note that for past 2 years we have been either first or second or third rank in the trials. That means to say we are in the top position. But these hybrids which to enter market, to enter the production chain, after that evaluation, it takes 3 years to enter into that. Means if 2020 the result has been declared, 2021 we are going to multiply the seed, again test market it, again volume building process happens. If we take out the All India Coordinated Project reports, we are very safe. And statewide release and nationwide release of North Biogen from the past 2 years has been substantially very high compared to any other competitor in Karnataka, in India.
Thank you. I'll go back in the queue. I'll ask a few more questions. There is time to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we would like to remind participants that you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Abhilash N, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Namaste to one and all. Few questions from my side. You have said you have made a provision of around 20 to 25%. Is it 20 or 25%? Seed return.
You see, when I say 20 to 25%, it means like that because there are certain crops we take it 20, certain I will take 22.5, certain crops we take 25.
All crops. Okay, all crops included. BT cotton, yes. How much? Any probable figure?
Around 22, 23.
Okay. And one more question, why the production costs have gone up significantly earlier comparison, 50 crores se leke abhi 100 crores cross kar diya. Is there any particular thing?
Your question is not clear. Dobara boliye please.
Production cost, it has gone up from 50 crores which was earlier. Now this quarter you have shown around 101 crores.
Production
expenses.
Production expenses?
Yes.
Just give me a sec. Yeah, of course. It is.
Yeah.
You see, what happens is, there are two things happening. One is, production is non-provisioned. It is taken in full.
Sorry, hello?
Production has taken place for growth of volume for this year.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Last year, the sales return were more.
Okay.
So that goods which were put into production last year have also moved in.
Okay.
This year.
Okay.
So the production technically goes up.
Okay.
That is why somebody raised an issue that the gross margin is reduced in this year, in this quarter, sorry.
Yes.
Again, I would like to request all the analysts, my request is that Q1 is a quarter in which we have to make provisions, which are based on certain thought process which changes by H1 closing.
Okay.
So by the time we reach September end, all this will look actual and normal.
Okay. Will there be any chance like that reduction if the seed return comes less than what you have expected?
Oh, it is always there. It could be more also.
And my last question, coming to the PNF segment, you have said it is growing, but actually last year and that previous year comparison, there is no as such growth actually, 29 to 30 crores. PNF couldn't.
You see, PNF is a product with a potential.
Yes.
It needs special efforts. The vertical was created last year.
Okay.
People have been recruited only to sell PNF and nothing else. And the effort that is expected on this will give us the growth.
Okay.
And please understand that the margin for this product is quite high. So it is in our interest also that if we want to improve the gross margin, we sell more PNF. So special effort is being laid on PNF and vegetable as compared to cotton and paddy.
My last suggestion. Yeah, as we are having our portfolio diversified into all the different segments, but the thing every year happening is that some other segment is killing the growth of some other segment. See that it is not happening on a consistent basis.
That's
because it is eating up somebody's growth. If paddy is growing, cotton is getting down. If cotton is growing, then TNS is not growing. Then finally the result becomes the same growth.
No.
It should be an enhanced growth when compared to the larger players because of our small base.
I appreciate that line. What we are contemplating is that we continue to grow cotton and paddy at a reasonable rate so that we do not emphasize extra effort on these established crops.
Okay.
Then we lay more emphasis on vegetable and PNS and other crops.
Okay.
The question is only of laying effort. Now what happens is, in my presentation, we have also said that cotton and paddy, which in this quarter was around 73% or 78% of the total sales revenue,
Okay.
by the end of the year, it goes down to around 60 or 55.
Okay.
Our target is to bring this to around 50-55% so that better margin crops give us better bottom line.
Yeah. Thank you.
We are working toward that.
Thanks.
Thank you. A reminder to participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Anil Sharma from AB Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, first in terms of the illegal cotton seeds, I wanted to, check what's the solution that we are, looking from the government because just making it illegal is actually not working. So what's the solution that we are looking?
Yeah, Dr. Kulkarni is going to answer that.
There were two national seed associations which have clubbed together and combined now to make it officially release the herbicide tolerant cotton. So there are efforts going on at government level, lobbying is going on, so that officially these cottons are released. So the players which are on organized sector will also have an opportunity to market these that. And to that we have already licensed with then Monsanto, now Bayer. We have also converted our all lines into herbicide tolerant. The moment it gets released, we are also into the market next day. So in the sense, when we are unable to prevent the illegal cotton, then we have to make it official so that everybody will come into the picture. Probably you might be knowing that the same thing happened when the BT cotton released. BT cotton, before it gets released, the illegal BT cotton sales was very, very high. Then government realized that, then they immediately released the BT cotton. Then the illegal BT cotton sales drastically came down because farmers believe in the approved brands. So the same thing might repeat in this also. There are a lot of efforts which are going on. Even our managing director is also putting a lot of efforts on that. And probably by next year, we might receive some good news for all the organizing sector. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that, sir. Sir, another thing on the cotton sales about the company. So we have grown at about 8%, but our full year guidance is around about 20%. So keeping in mind that most of the sales happen largely in Q1 only. So if you can just brief it up for me, sum it up, how does this number match up?
You see, what happens is certain areas the goods have also gone in by end of June or the 1st of July, in the first week of July, so which may not have been captured in this quarter. Secondly, I have provision for around 22-23% of sales return cotton, which last year was only 11%. So we are hoping that I am being conservative, and the next quarter, H1 rather, will give us a true picture. The cotton sales are likely to even go further from this point. That's what my personal belief is. Let's wait and watch.
So you are quite confident on the 20%?
Finance people are always conservative, not confident. Okay.
Okay. And lastly, just one thing on your export plans, sir. What's the situation in Philippines, and if you can shed some light on the export plans of the company?
Yeah, so Dr. Kulkarni is also heading our export line, so he will let you know all on this, please.
We have had good news from Philippines, but not the cotton crop. It was release of GMO brinjal and also golden rice. We are also lobbying there to get it released and get an import permit for shipping there. In addition to that, we were expecting already in Sudan our cotton release there. However, the governments are working slow there. There are two types of releases that are going to happen. We are expecting one meeting is already scheduled in Sudan, and another is going to be scheduled. By next year, we will be ready for there to ship a good quantity. Myanmar, we have already done a good placement. However, you know the situation of Myanmar. We are unable to get the total dynamics of the market there just because movement of the people into the areas have been restricted because of the coup there. Also, we are very happy that last month we have established an authorized in Central Asia company based at Uzbekistan, Samarkand, and this will take another 3 years to bring revenues with the kind of experiments and product development that we do.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the opportunity then, sir. All the best.
Thank you. A reminder to participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one. The next question is from the line of Anurag Jain, shareholder. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good morning, sir. My question is related to the main markets of Nath Bio and what were the market conditions? Like which are your most important states that you operate in terms of your revenue contribution? And in these states, what were the growth drivers? Because your growth in cotton segment is very good. And in these particular states, how was the quarter affected by the erratic monsoons? Were the monsoons good or bad? And what was the impact of second wave of COVID in these particular different markets of yours? Thank you. This is my
Let me tell you the market strategy that we normally use. I call it a territorial basket strategy. We have almost about 250 odd territories, and in each territory has a territory manager. And I always say that Nath Biogene is a pan-India, pan-product company. So when you say where we are in India, I would say we are everywhere in India. We have 16 branches in 16 states who are handling the entire operation. We have 250 territories. Those territories are taken care of by a territory manager who has a basket of products which are chosen based on the agroclimatic conditions of that particular territory. So we are everywhere. Advantage, even if there are vagaries of monsoon, even if there are certain things that go wrong somewhere, other places are able to help us to build the top line. So since I am everywhere, something sells somewhere. Disadvantage, my inventory levels get stretched and my debtor level gets stretched. But if these two get stretched and I am able to manage it, my top line is always protected and my bottom line is always protected. Now my choice is either I put my goods only in certain areas, be a very good working capital company and make a top line and bottom line growth reduced, or we spread ourselves thin like butter on your bread and then we take everywhere and we do. So marketing strategy basically is to be present in all the places where we sell. We sell cotton down south, we sell cotton in Gujarat, we sell paddy in northeast, Patna and Bihar and UP and all that. We sell mustard up north, we sell wheat up north. So, and we sell vegetables all over the country. We sell PNS everywhere on the country. So that is our strategy. It has been bearing fruit for last 3 years now, and we continue to stay with that.
All right, sir. Then I would ask that what was the impact of second wave of COVID on an aggregate level in all the 250 territories, and what was the impact of monsoons on an aggregate level in these 250 territories?
देखिए, like I said, monsoon 250 territories को equally affect नहीं करता है, or somewhere less. So where the monsoon has been errant, the sales will go down. Where the monsoon has been good, the sales will continue to meet our target. So as a result, monsoon gets evenized because of our presence everywhere.
All right.
As far as COVID is concerned,
basically, aggregate level, there is no impact of monsoon then.
Oh, hardly any. Okay.
All right, sir.
As far as COVID is concerned, COVID has been everywhere and nowhere. The threat of COVID is that people don't venture out. The government doesn't allow them to venture out. They are unable to go to the field. Luckily, second wave has not been as detrimental in rural areas as in the urban areas. So as a result, COVID, like I put in my presentation, COVID affected my processing and COVID affected my transportation, logistics, but not production, and technically definitely not sales to that effect. If my transport is not available and I'm unable to send the goods, the COVID effects. But we have been able to mitigate. It's not that we have not been affected by cotton, but we have not been affected in a major way.
All right. Thank you, sir. This was my question.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Preeti Singh from Value Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my question again. So my question is about the PNS segment. What kind of products have been launched, and what is the market size, and what revenue are we looking at?
The products launched were from soil amendments. As you know, that the government has stressed a lot on soil health card and soil other kind of things. And there is a growing awareness from the farmers that it is not only nitrogen, phosphorus and potash fertilizers. There are other factors which are going to add value to the farming community. So we have released the 2 soil amendments, and which are into a shiny ball kind of thing, which is very attractive, and we are hoping very good sales of it. And its market is growing on. Soil amendment market is growing on.
We had, let me add a little to that. We had made a statement that we want to grow the PNS segment by adding more products. Okay. Our major product has been Vincivin, which is a foliar spray. Foliar spray means it is sprayed on the leaves of the plant, and the things, it takes nutrition through the process of photosynthesis. Now, the other 2 products are ground products. They will be added to the root, and they will give nutrition right from the root level upwards. This gives us a variation in the PNS segment. We are also contemplating trying out more products. We want this segment to grow at whatever percentages and have a good bottom line, because it gives us good bottom line, good margins.
So just a follow-up. So the new products will have the same margin as Vincivin?
They will be lesser.
Okay. And what kind of okay. And my next question is about the buyback. So what's the status on the buyback currently?
We have already taken up a case with our banker, and we have said that we want to do it. Maybe it will be discussed in the next consortium meeting, which is going to happen this month, or maybe next month beginning, and then they will take up to their committees if it is approved. So it is in process.
Okay, got it.
The dividend as declared will be taken care of once AGM is completed, and the AGM has been announced for 27th of August this month.
Okay, got it. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. That was the last question in queue. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Khurana for comments.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I am always impressed by the interest that is taken by the investor and the analytical people in the country, in our company. We want to be known as a diversified pan-product, pan-India company. Currently, then maybe globally also, because a lot of efforts are being taken in Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, and those areas. We are also putting in efforts in the African segment through Sudan, and of course, in any case, we have been exporting to Myanmar, Egypt, and all that. Pakistan has taken a back seat because of the relationship. Maybe somewhere down the line that will also improve. So we continue to try and maintain our guidance. We are stabilizing, keeping working capital in view, because if I stretch it further, everybody gets panicky. But I would like to tell you that everything currently is on path, in thought process with what we have been deciding and working for. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Go India Advisors, that concludes this conference call for today. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.